Bienvenue and welcome to Beaumont, Alberta. Located just minutes southeast of Edmonton, Beaumont's a charming community with big city conveniences. It's where life feels just right, with safe neighborhoods, historic French-Canadian heritage, a strong economy, and a youthful energy that shines through everything we do. Here, every season brings us together, and it's easy to feel welcome, connected, and part of something bigger.
Hey Ben, what's the Aztec Safety online e-learning website again?
Yeah, that would be aztecsafety.com.
Fire extinguisher and firefighting will send that.
You work the land, you just got to be a jack of all trades type. There's just too much to do. So if you got to be a welder or a farmer or a ditch digger, that's just who you are that day.
The 2025-2026 Grand Slam of Curling schedule is out, with big events happening all over Canada, like the Masters heading to London in September. The Tour Challenge from NIS.
Faces around Lake Tahoe are legendary. But this fall, new ones will emerge in the Tahoe Basin. Pullman, Mowat, Gushu, and more. November 4th through 9th, the Grand Slam of Curling's first ever event in the U.S. is coming to Lake Tahoe, where the greatest rock stars on earth unite for 6 days of incredible curling, celebrity appearances, and après curl parties you won't want to miss. Get your tickets at thegrandslamofcurling.com. Let's rock.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, bonspiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive...
Ste.Marie Airport Development Corporation, owner and operator of the Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, Canada Airport, is proud to support the Sault Curlers Fall Classic and welcome all to beautiful Sault Ste. Marie. The Sault Ste. Marie Airport, go there to get anywhere.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Henderson Metals Fall Classic here at the YNCU Curling Club in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Not quite sure yet if you're getting this, but if you are, welcome, and I'm pleased to have you watching this morning. And if not, we'll get it figured out here shortly. So first draw action in the Bonspiel, biggest probably the biggest or close to the biggest cash spiel on the circuit with a $100,000 first prize. Or not first prize, sorry, total purse, but some great teams and should be a lot of fun here. Sault Ste. Marie, awesome curling club. I had the luxury of visiting there last year, and our game this morning is going to feature Jonathan Beuk from Kingston, Ontario, and Reid Carruthers from Winnipeg, Manitoba. Carruthers probably a little bit of a favorite here. They play it far more and has a fair bit more experience, but certainly the Kingston squad not without their experience factor as well. We're just a couple of rocks in here, and we have a bewilderment on the part of the skips down at the other end. It looks like Reid might not have a broom. Hard to play this game without a broom. Oh, okay, so that's what they're looking for. I should have figured that out. I was looking for the 6-foot stick, as you all know probably, but just in case for those that don't, if the rock is not touching the rings, and that's what they're measuring for there with a 6-foot biter stick. If it's not touching the rings, you're unable to remove it from play, and if it's touching the center line, you're unable to remove it from the center line. So that's what they were allowed. That's one of the, probably maybe the only, but certainly one of those rare occasions where you're allowed to measure a stone at any type of measure on a stone until the end of the end. So another guard goes up for Beuk. Not quite sure how to say Jonathan's last name. It's very, very short. Beuk. Shouldn't be that hard, but I'm not quite sure what the pronunciation is. So might be somebody out there can clarify that for me. Very early, only on the fourth rock at the end here. Lead stone Connor Negavan for Team Carruthers. I like this team. A lot of talent on this team. A lot of experience and talent. PJ Newfield the third certainly always was one of the best thirds on the circuit as far as I was concerned. Little split there. Got 2 yellows on. Without hammers, spreading them out a little bit. It's always a good thing. Looking for a little hit and roll here. Got the hit, slight roll. Just for those that don't know me, I'm Jim Nix, and I'm one of the commentators here on Curling Stadium, and a lot of fun doing it. Just doing it solo at the moment. Might be joined by Rory after a little bit. In the meantime, we have Kaylee doing our production work for us, and she'll make sure she gets all the best. You get all the best looks to today's game. Newfield just trying to hold this a little bit straight. Looks like they're going to try to make the little roll underneath. Going to be hard pressed to hold it at all here. It's going to be probably going to roll out. Out turn hit here for Team Beuk from Kingston, Ontario, my old stomping grounds from many, many, many years ago. That'll do the trick. Might not have got it far enough out. Looks like pretty close there between the two. They're on the outside, extreme outsides of the 12-foot. Reid's going to ignore it either way, so he's coming right around the center. Makes sense. He has hammer. He's trying to go for his 2 here early in this one. This looks pretty good. Trying to carve it in a little bit. Like to get at least partially buried, and he will. Looks like he's going to get fully buried. So nice shot there for Captain Schneider. Beuk now looking for the straight run back. It's a big shot. If you can make this good, then you're going to be sitting pretty nice. If you can hit it dead on the nose, would be what you'd prefer. This is third stone Patrick Jansen. It's going to be close. It's going to be real close. Great shot. Just over curled probably maybe a half an inch. So he didn't get it dead buried, but still very nice. Carruthers going to have to do something with it. Can't really get anything super great out of it. So he's just going to probably have to hit, maybe roll to the wings. I don't think he can get buried with this at all. Very nice. I say Neufeld, always one of my favorite third stones, and a really nice shot there from BJ. Got as close to buried as you could get. It's probably 2/3 open, maybe even 3/4 open. Probably from the left tack, probably only maybe 2/3. But leaves Jansen with a tough shot. This one's going to have to be moving over a little bit. They're trying to roll to the wings. Okay. Wants to be sitting at least 2 after this. If he touches his own, he'll be fine. So very nice. Knew he couldn't get the roll underneath, so rather than leave Carruthers a chance to make the roll underneath, he decided to roll to the wings and force Reid to make a decision. Carruthers now will come around. He feels like there's no opportunity here to certainly blank the end, so he might as well go. He's not really in any danger, so he might as well go a little harder to try to score 2. So BJ Neufeld now with the in-turn draw. This has got to bite it pretty hard. And this looks just about perfect again. So nice shot by Neufeld. Probably a couple of ways to get this one, though. He might be able to make that out turn come around. Certainly got enough of the last one to make it. They also made the straight back run back. So they might look at that. It's not a short run back. You're talking, looks like probably, let's say 8, 10, probably 10, 11 feet to get to there. Somewhere around that anyway. Maybe slightly less than that. Maybe like 8 to 10 feet. But regardless, if you don't make it, you're probably giving up 2. So That's the one thing about it. That's the nice thing about that shot as well for Carruthers. Sees an opportunity there, and at this level, if you're going to play, you got to play. So Jonathan Beuk now trying to run back. Years ago, for Skip to try a run back would be, I don't know, wishing upon a star, I think. But nowadays, most of certainly the top teams and most of the even real good teams are able to make this shot at the Skip's position. And looks like he's going to be very close. He may miss it. Ooh, a bit unlucky. Just needed another half an inch of curl and he would have removed that. Did move it a little bit, though. That's one good thing for him. Should somehow or other Reid manage to miss a draw here, which I very much doubt he will. But if he did, then Jonathan would have a wide open hit. As it is, he has something he can hit and roll off if he needs to. And Carruthers looks like he's coming right around again. So we'll see what happens. We are at, as I mentioned before, we're at the Ste.Marie Curling Club, which is known as the YNCU. The local credit union is a sponsor of this curling club and our naming sponsor or title sponsor, whatever the proper term is. That's hence you have your neighborhood credit union is what the acronym stands for. If you're wondering what the heck YNCU was, as I was wondering last year when I first started doing a few games with Curling Stadium, it seemed like a very odd title to me, but makes perfect sense once you know what it is. Carruthers now looking to come around and bury behind this guard. Pretty long guard, but this one's a long way out. I don't think he's going to bury this. He may get close, though. Busting hard. Not going to get there. Ooh. If that doesn't get number 2. Oh, he did just barely, I think, get number 2. Very fortunate. If that rock stops 2 inches, maybe even only an inch, but a couple inches for sure shorter, Carruthers could be in big trouble. He could be looking at his last shot, looking at 3 or 4 now as it is. Beuk has to make a really, really nice roll, of which he's been given the opportunity, though. I will say that. Like, he's got a little bit of room to roll to. And if he can make a good roll, he might be able to force Carruthers into taking just a single point. The perfect roll would probably be to just get to barely to the other side, maybe leave an inch open on the opposite side of the sheet he's on now, so that Carruthers can't make the straight yellow run back, although that's not painful either because that would be just for one. So anywhere rolling behind those guards would be pretty good. It's got to curl a lot to get the roll, though. No, I guess maybe not a lot. They're trying to hold it a little straight now. Got to curl. Get a little roll. A little more. Needs a little further. Just not quite enough. They just didn't quite get the sweep call right on that. It was tough. I mean, you don't want to try to... That's the problem with carving and whatnot is you do have... Unless you do it a lot, unless you practice it a lot, and the ice conditions are always different as well. So unless you do that, it's hard to know. Sometimes you start carving a rock in there, and once you do, there's usually no turning back. Like you got to make sure that you're okay with where it ends up. Because if it overcurls too much, you're probably not stopping it from that. As was that one, they just needed a little tiny bit more. Nice throw by Jonathan for sure. But Carruthers with a chance for 2 here in the first end. Carruthers, one of the earlier competitive skips to go with the sliding device. He uses the big one. This one's got to curl a little, but he's got nice weight. Still going to make it curl a little bit more. Might get there. Looks like he'll probably be okay. The weight will probably save him. Very nice shot by Reid Carruthers. That's a perfect example why sometimes on those shots it's nice to throw that little bit of control weight that you can work with the brooms. So one end complete here at the Henderson Medals. And we have Reid Carruthers leading Jonathan Beuk 2-0. We'll be back right after the break.
You just got to be a jack of all trades type. There's just too much to do. So if you got to be a welder or a farmer or a ditch digger, that's just who you are that day. Then tomorrow, you can be somebody else.
Hey Ben, what's the Aztec Safety online e-learning website again?
Yeah, that would be aztecsafety.com.
Fire extinguisher and firefighting. We'll send that one to Paul.
Ah, now here's a course I should probably take. Conflict resolution.
Power line safety. Yeah, I thought it might help me with my line calls. Did you know this Aztec website has over 100 safety courses?
Jeez. Aztec Safety online course. Ground disturbance. Could have used that a few seconds ago.
Live curling rocks. And this November, the best in the world are coming to Tahoe. Get your seats now at gsoctickets.com. But hurry, early bird pricing ends soon.
Welcome back. Draw number 2, or draw number 1 and number 2 of the Henderson Medal Fall Classic here at the YNCU Curling Center in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Jim Nix bringing you this game on Curling Stadium. We're going to be here all weekend long, as well as picking up some coverage of a couple of other events that are going on around the country, or at least possibly one other event for sure. Lots of curling on this weekend everywhere, including on Curling Stadium. It's as everybody probably knows, the pre-trials are being held right now in Wolfville, Nova Scotia, where several teams are battling for the last spot in the Olympic trials later this fall into early winter, which is also going to be in Nova Scotia. Nova Scotia, a hotbed for curling this winter. They'll be held in Halifax in early December, if I remember right. If you're not familiar with Halifax, or even if you are, great city. I'm not very far from there, and it's it's just a wonderful city. A lot of stuff going on, a lot of restaurants, a lot of entertainment. And if you're there for the Olympic trials, I can guarantee you're going to have a very good time. And if you like seafood, you're going to have even a better time. So 4 rocks in. We're going now. And Carruthers without hammer this end is going to play an out-turn come around. He's got a couple of guards up there, neither one on the center line, but close. And pretty good shot, slightly staggered, so pretty good shape. He'll come around these, and then I would imagine you'll see Beuk look to clean that up in the front a little bit. Can't let that stay there. He's got a couple of corners to work with, but if Catlin makes this good, it's going to be tough to just leave that stuff up there. Schneider got another guy that's played a lot over the years. He's played a lot of positions over the years. I've seen him before regularly at third. I've seen him skipping. I think he's been to a few Briars at different positions. So now playing second stone on this team. And like I said before, I think it's a very good team. It's just a matter if they can put it together at exactly the right time, which is really for most of the good teams, that's kind of what it's about. So Jonathan's not going to run that guard, which is a bit surprising to me. Going to go after the rock that's just barely on or off the 12-foot there. I'm not quite sure which. And look to roll behind the corner. Not a bad call either. Just got to kind of make it, because if you don't, you're going to be in maybe a lot of trouble after that. So this one's got to curl a little bit. No, holding it straight. Ice looks great. Not sure the speed, but it just looks like it has great curl. And curl rolled a little too far. Unfortunate. If that had held on just a foot less, it would have been in a perfect spot. But forces Carruthers to do something with it, which opens up the back one and the on the edge of the button there. So a very nice shot either way for second stone David Staples. Schneider with his second here in the second end. BJ Newfield on it right out of his hand, trying to make sure he doesn't clip that top gun. And he's going to roll out a lot of weight. That was probably the plan. Quite often early in the game, you haven't been out that far. If you're going to throw a hit and you're going to be a little up or a little down, I always like to err on the side of being a little up early in the game for sure, just because historically ice doesn't curl quite as much out there, but you don't want to miss it on the inside there for sure. So we're still at David Staples here. Now looking to get a little hit and roll. And he's going to roll behind the corners. Doesn't roll too far. This time I think it'll hold on better. Very nice. Reid Carruthers will be a couple of options here. Looks like he's thinking going out, turn around the corner. Eliminate that back one from scoring. That's what he'll play. Still not a bad setup for Beuk, though. Unless BJ can keep this, fully buried just above the tee line perfectly, then this Kingston squad will have an opportunity to follow this down and sit not too bad. Negevin working hard on this one. Has to be light because he's not trying to hold it straight, I don't think, at this point. And he's very light. That's a big miss. I think that's, these guys don't usually get fooled by that, but I feel like that shot is one of those that is directly impacted by how little teams throw in that area early in the game, like during practice. Like they go to the button, but they don't get over across the other side. So sometimes they just hit some fresh ice and it's just that little bit heavier and get fooled. Now, mind you, that was that's quite light, but still. So Beuk now with a chance to come right around and have two buried here in a minute. Patrick Jansen. Just watching this one, not really doing too much with it. Going now. Don't want to be too deep here because if you're too deep, Carruthers probably going to follow you down. You want enough room to be able to score that second point, at least the second point. You're looking at, Carruthers going to play through the hole. At least that's the early call, through the hole, hit and roll. Be a very nice shot if you can make it. They usually are all pretty nice shots if you can make them. BJ, nobody gets lower than BJ, I don't think. There's a few that get down there with him as far as his keeping his nose off the ice or chin off the ice, but I don't know if there's many that ever get lower. I don't know how you can get much lower. This is going to be maybe really good if he hits just enough. And he'll roll all the way over. Nicely done. Still a pretty good situation for Beuk. He'd like to keep this one just a little bit further away from the center line, we'll say, just to make that very same shot tougher, maybe a little bit higher if he could. Not positive you can take the hit away from Carruthers, but you can sure give it a go. So Patrick Jansen now, second shot here in the second end. Out-turn draw, needs to make this one. It's got to curl, and it's got to go. It's got to really go. I don't know if they're going to get that there. Definitely not going to be shot. Gets a biter, which probably doesn't really help at all. So all of a sudden, Carruthers has a chance to put some real heat on Beuk here. It's just that's how quick the game can change. It's a minute ago he looks like he's sitting in really nice shape. One shot made and one shot half made, and then one miss, and all of a sudden it's the tide has turned. Carruthers makes this shot. He should be sitting two, probably fully buried. And Beuk could be in some real danger of giving up another steal here. Not another steal, giving up a steal here. Schneider, as I mentioned, former skip and third, and sometimes that adjustment to play front end is not too hard for these guys physically. They're all in great shape, and they sweep enough to kind of get a good judgment and weight and all that kind of stuff. Just sometimes hard to not poke your nose into the game calling more than what the team likes or is okay with. So not that he was doing that, but that is a danger with front end players that have come from the skip position or the third position sometimes as well. One input, but not over the top input. This looks pretty close. Line looks perfect. Again, looks a little on the light side though. Nope, he's okay. They were right. That's a beauty. Very nice. It was, there was always probably going to be something for Beuk here. It was going to be hard to get that in there and have him not be able to make some kind of play. If he's a little lighter, they can hit it. If he's a little heavier, they can freeze to it. So he's still playing basically a draw to it, and probably a little, kind of corner tap, just a tiny little bit, get shot rock, but not roll off at all. So this event, triple knockout format in this event, so you've got to lose 3 times before they send you home. And it does go, I believe it goes all the way to Monday with the playoffs on Monday. I personally am heading away on the weekend on Sunday, I think, Sunday morning early. We fly out and won't be around for the finals. That's too bad. I like this bonspiel. We got some great guys commentating this weekend, some of the usual guys and a couple of new people. So I hope you enjoy it. This one's got a curl. A little rub. That's unfortunate. Weight was pretty close. Just thinking that pretty near had to be a little wide on that. So Reid Carruthers now in a golden opportunity here to steal a point or two, because he puts this in the right place, and Jonathan Beuk is going to have a very hard time scoring and a bit of a challenge even cutting Reid down to just one. So Carruthers, little draw around. Same shot he played a minute ago, really. Just trying to take a little more of the hole away as well, I think. The other option is just play a straight guard here. You just have to make sure you don't go too far. So that's probably looks a little more like what he was actually doing. And that's going to be fine. So Jonathan Beuk's got to figure out some magic here. Having a good look at it. There's not a lot here. Going to come around on the out turn, and probably I don't think you can do it with that ice though. Really not quite sure of the shot call here. I think, I don't know how he's ever going to be able to get to that and not give up more. So I think it's almost a draw. Conceding a point would be the call I would be thinking, because then he just has to hit full 8-foot. With this ice, and we haven't really been out here, but with this ice, it looks like he's going to have to throw a heavier weight shot than that. Something in probably the back line to hack kind of weight. And I don't know that I can see how you get away without giving up 2 here. But let's see. He's out there, and he'd have a lot better idea than I do. And he also was looking at one point at a raise on the green. So maybe that's where we're going. It's just an odd place to call it from for me. Well, it looks, we can get a little more curl. Needs to get a little more curl. A little more. Oh, another close call. A couple of shots for Jonathan Beuk in this end that were not far from being off, but as a result, gives up a steal of 2. And now faced with a long road back, down 4-0 after 2 ends of play here at the Henderson Medal Fall Curling Classic.
Developed over a decade in collaboration with the finest ice makers this side of the Atlantic, the Pebblehead PB5 is nothing short of a triumph of sophistication and craftsmanship. Weighing less than half its lumbering copper predecessors, yet boasting 10-fold their durability, the PB5 delivers perfect, consistent ice, time after time. The PB5 by Pebbleheads.com, the apex of ice-making ingenuity for the roaring game of curling.
The 2025-2026 Grand Slam of Curling schedule is out, with big events happening all over Canada, like the Masters heading to London in September, the Tour Challenge from YNCU this October, the Canadian Open from Saskatoon in December, and the Players' Championship from Steinbeck coming in January. Early bird weekend and full event passes on sale now at gsoctickets.com. Let's rock!
I've got this one. So, how was that? Wonderful. Now let's do it again.
BDO Assurance, a commitment to quality.
So back for end number 3 here in Sault Ste.Marie. You're on Curling Stadium. I'm Jim Next, bringing you the opening draw action here at the Henderson Medal Fall Classic. As mentioned, we are in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, the home of the Harnden brothers and the Team Jacobs squad from a few years back. Some of the Harnden family doing some announcing this weekend as well on Curling Stadium, so that's great to see. The Harnden Curlers are at the Pan-Continental Championships, the final year for the Pan-Continentals, as World Curling moves into a new format, which is way too hard to explain here in a couple of minutes. So Beuk now with a long way back. Got to start here. You got to get on the board this end for sure. You don't want to take one, but I think I'm at the point where I would want to at least score. Plan here with the double corner set up to try to get 2, at least 2. It's hard to start with getting 3. So you got to kind of get 2 and then see if you get opportunity arises for 3. Not so far down that you have to have 3. You know, if you're down another point or 2, you're probably forced to say, well, it's either we get 3 or it's going to be a short day. But for now, let's sort of just try to get 2. See Carruthers now, that rock being off the center, even though it is still within the 5 rock rule, he is able to move it. He just cannot remove it. Connor Negevin hammering it is going to touch the front one and roll over and guard his own a little bit, maybe, or roll a little bit too far for that. Don't know if that matters. He would have liked to probably guard a little bit of that top one, but he did get rid of at least move one of those corners out of play. So Jonathan Beuk now will look at, interesting. Look at playing a little hit and flop. Really, it's more not a, don't know if you can call this a hit. It's going to be sort of a, so that usually that signal over there to the side means like kind of a board weight shot. I don't know how that ever started back in the day. I know when I started curling, a lot of the curling clubs, if not all, had dividers. So, and these are usually made of wood. So you might tap that and figure, well, that means board weight. In other words, the weight it would take for the stone to reach. Some people say to reach the backboard, or some people say to move another rock to the backboard. So either way, it's something that's used fairly universally by a lot of teams. This looks like it could be really good if you can sneak it by that top one. And whoa, no, so close. So close for David Staples. It's been that kind of day so far, though, for the Beuk team. They haven't been that far off. I don't think they've been throwing the rock too bad at all, but they're on the wrong side of the inch pretty much consistently for these first 3 ends. Callan Schneider now looking to clean things up a little bit, get rid of this corner now that he's allowed to, and he will be fine. Roll all the way away. Still stuff to work for Beuk, though. He can come right around the corner. I don't see him hitting those. I see him coming around the green corner or around the yellow corner. Either one of them, really. Or he could do that, too. So you saw him going right around the center. I think I'd be coming around the corner. The corner of the green corner might just be a little too long. The yellow would be fine, but then he's going to run his own back, which is always not the preferred result for the team trailing. This is a tough shot, but a shot we see played quite a bit too when you come around rocks in the house, especially on ice that has lots of curl like this. He goes to the back too far. Carruthers might just play the draw to it, despite having a 4-0 lead. Well, it's actually going to be pretty darn good. Very hard to hit it without, yeah, okay, you can get it that way, I guess. Carruthers going to hit his own, try to just jam the yellow onto the green. Certainly works, but not a bad shot, though. You know, another couple inches would have been good, but you don't want to go too much further because that run back's a little bit easier. So BJ, with nose to the grindstone, in this case, nose to the ice, is going to make pretty difficult shot look pretty darn easy for these guys that can throw it really hard and straight. Certainly not my generation. We didn't come from a generation that played those kinds of shots very much, so they are really difficult. If I can't see it all, I don't like it. Anyway. So Beuk now trying to talk to the team. Where can we go, boys? It's hard here to play sort of a, we'd like to get 2, but I'd rather blank than take 1 kind of strategy. That's just really tough to do. You almost have to commit. If you're going for the 2, you kind of have to commit. And I'm not sure this is enough of a commitment. You got to make the hit and roll. I think you can draw behind that probably maybe easier than playing this shot, than making this shot at least. But this does get rid of a rock and does actually, in theory, at least keep the blank alive. Jansen's rock. First, I think, of 2. Got to hold this straight. Can't touch the top one. And almost made it perfect. Yeah, it's just tough to get it perfect. So, but a half rock open for BJ Neufeld. Well, I'm sure they'll make a play on it. These guys also are so good with the run backs that they occasionally play run backs that I wouldn't even think, like here. A minute ago, they've hit a rock that they could only see about 2 inches of, but this one a little different, slightly different situation and everything. So BJ Neufeld playing the straight back run on the yellow. Make contact with the green at all is good enough, really, at this point. And he will, no, that's not so good. Interesting. Well, for a minute, I thought he was going to leave it right behind the yellow. Still surprised they didn't just play the intern and go after that way with the intern hit instead of soft weight hit instead of that. But like I said, these guys would probably make that shot. As far as making contact with that green rock, I bet you that they would make that, well, certainly 8 out of 10, maybe even 9 out of 10 if you're talking about just being able to make contact and remove it. So a shot that's not a difficult one for them, and pretty short run back there. That was only probably 6 feet or so, which is pretty short for these guys. So now Jansen with the intern draw with a chance to set up a 2 and maybe even stretch it to 3 if he could ever get behind there and Reid decided to hit the one in the 4-foot, which he probably would. If he ever rolled out, then he could come around again if you want and take a chance. It is a bit risky, but I'm a little trouble with the one camera locking up a little bit on us here, but very nicely done. Got enough curl, I'm sure, that they can't really go after the double here. Carruthers now hitting the open one, the one on the edge of the 4, as we expected. Probably will try to roll a little bit behind the yellow. Depends on how much he likes just the 2-point lead. And Carruthers got a nose hit here, which is all he was really looking for, to be honest. Now, Beuk has a little bit of a decision to make here. He's got a little bit of room to work with over on the left side of the overhead as we look at it. We got our camera back up now, so we'll be able to see that next shot. But he could try to make this little roll. And probably will. He has to stay. He has to be sitting 2 after this. The guaranteed 2 almost is hitting this one and rolling it touch to the right into the 8-foot just to remain shot rock or second shot rock. And because it's wide open, you know, Carruthers is going to hit it and probably going to give you a pretty simple 2. There's an opportunity for 3 if you go for the roll and make it. So that's the decision here. It's just a matter of which one you prefer. As I said, if you're more comfortable with being down 2 without versus maybe ending up only down 1 if you go for that, or down 3 rather. So anyway, we'll see what he decides to do here. It looks like he's trying to go a little bit inside roll here. See, come in. He's going to hit it right on the nose as well. Probably a little bit heavy for the roll, but wanted to be a little bit safe, like he really does. I mean, I can't fault anybody in this situation for trying to make sure they get their 2. The problem with that is that they probably needed to have, the nerve to sweep that and have it go a little bit outside. If the sweepers are letting you know the weight was maybe up a little bit from what they wanted. I'm not sure. I couldn't really tell the weight call, so we don't hear them at all, same as you. So we're sort of, unless they really indicate what they want, it's sometimes just a bit of guesswork on our part. So, but anyway, it was a good shot. It just does leave Carruthers with a chance to make the two very, very difficult. Reid Carruthers, a little bit of a wobble there, but got her back on track. If anything, perhaps a little bit in out, so maybe he might need a little help making the curl. Negaman's on it fairly early. And he'll get the roll. He'll roll a little too far, but not sure how accessible that is now. That was the problem with Beuk's shot. He just, there was a lot of room for Carruthers to roll on that shot. You might see him play the double. Can't draw for one here, I don't think. You've got a chance for your two. I think you've got to take it, even though it's not a gimme by any stretch. So pretty early in this game, we actually have a kind of game-changing shot here. If you can make this double, get back to 4-2. You're still down, certainly not in a great position, but a decent position at least, and certainly a position you can play a little bit with what shots you can give some consideration to different shots you want to play, I guess. If you don't make this and Carruthers steals another one, it is a long old haul back down 5 to these kinds of teams. And Reid's team for sure is a long way back. Jonathan Beuk now playing the outturn double. Might be close. And he will, beautiful shot by Jonathan Beuk. Well done. Very nice, not an easy double at all. And Jonathan Beuk makes it perfectly to score 2 here in the third and get back to within 2 of Reid Carruthers when we come back from Sault Ste. Marie.
Developed over a decade in collaboration with the finest ice makers this side of the Atlantic, the Pebblehead PB5 is nothing short of a triumph of sophistication and craftsmanship. Weighing less than half its lumbering copper predecessors, yet boasting tenfold their durability, the PB5 delivers perfect, consistent ice, time after time. The PB5 by Pebbleheads.com, the apex of ice-making ingenuity for the roaring game of curling.
Live curling rocks. And this November, the best in the world are coming to Tahoe. Get your seats now at gsoctickets.com. But hurry, early bird pricing ends soon.
You work the land, you just got to be a jack of all trades type. There's just too much to do. So if you got to be a welder or a farmer or a ditch digger, that's just who you are that day. Then tomorrow, you can be somebody else.
Ste.Marie Airport Development Corporation, owner and operator of the Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, Canada Airport, is proud to support the Sault Curlers Fall Classic and welcome all to beautiful Sault Ste. Marie. The Sault Ste. Marie Airport. Go there to get anywhere.
So after Jonathan Beuk makes really a must-make double in end number 3 to score 2 points, Reid Carruthers holds a 4-2 lead entering in number 4 here in opening draw action at the Henderson Metals Fall Classic. on Curling Stadium, Sault Ste. Marie. Jim Nix bringing you the game. Kaylee's our production genius in this one, so we thank her for her help. For anybody that does all the stuff they do in the background, qualifies for genius status in my books. So guard went up for Beuk. Carruthers comes around. Beuk's trying to come in, sit on that. A little tiny bit short, but has the makings of something. Carruthers now with a 2-point lead. We'll just play a draw to the wings here, I think. Interesting call. Call we used to see more than we do any time these days. But over the last year and a half, I've kind of started to think like a little more merit in this shot than we gave it credit for. Certainly for the average to good teams, but the best teams might disagree a little bit. But Reid's certainly up there with a lot of them and made the call. Not a good result, to be honest. Just didn't really work well. Probably a little bit sticky out there. And Negvin just pulled her back a little bit. Chance for a double, though. Chance for a hit and roll, first of all. And maybe even the double and sit right there buried would be a very nice result for Team Beuk. This one's got to curl a lot. Playing the hit and roll across the face, it's always difficult, in my opinion, rather than just playing the other way. But anyway, it works either way if you make it. Just didn't quite get enough curl. Peel the guard for Carruthers. Pretty much strategy here for Carruthers to try to keep this as open as he can. He knows that Beuk has to be a little bit aggressive, so he might be able to get his opportunity for more than one without really having to push the issue very much. For Beuk, it's the opposite. He pretty much has to go fairly hard to try to score here, or worst case scenario, just a force to one, which actually I didn't even say worst case. That wouldn't be a bad result for Jonathan Beuk at this point. Force to one, get the hammer back and keep working on that curler's math, where you try to get two, give up one, get two, give up one. And it's a little harder when you start down 4-0 though. So guard going up for Staples and looks pretty good. That'll do the trick. Carruthers are going to peel this off. Catlin Schneider will be throwing his second here in the fourth end. Good peel there for Schneider. Just a quick reminder as well, if you like watching games on Curling Stadium and you want to keep being able to do that for years to come, then we would appreciate your like and subscribing to our site on YouTube. It enables us to make some of these things happen. A lot of work and a lot of money goes into kind of bringing this stuff to you. So it all helps greatly if you can offer your support in that way. Ooh, over curled a little bit, but Carruthers probably still going to peel that off. No, maybe not. He's going to go for the one in the house. Try to make the hit and roll to the left stone as we looked at it. Like, well, I guess to the right on the long view, but in the overhead, just roll towards the green rock that's on the outside of the 12-foot there. It's green rocks. It reminds me, I curled a curling club called the Granite Curling Club in Ottawa many, many, many years ago, and everything was green and yellow. Pennants and benches and ice and circles and rock. Everything was green and yellow. Not so much here. It's good. I'm just going to try to get about probably half of this rock. If it doesn't over curl, this is going to be close, just light. Wow, BJ, after all of my bragging him up, did not throw a very good shot there. That's just way underthrown. He didn't have enough rock to get enough weight to get it out. He had to have enough weight to remove it. Still shot rock, Carruthers, but much more appealing possibilities for Beuk than there was a few minutes ago. So looking at a couple shots, looking at the outturn draw through the port to the back yellow, and had been looking at, maybe the hit on the yellow and just flopping him behind the guard to provide more support to the one he has there. He might even be able to make the double and roll, but he's opted for the outturn draw. Good call here, I think. Jansen now, Patrick Jansen. This one has got to curl a mile. Here it comes. It does go so hard when it hits that hog line. Ooh, could have used, he got a little rub. I was going to say he could have used a little rub, but he did get it. I'm not sure what's happens on. They've had a couple of those that just didn't curl the way they thought. That was a tad heavy, but not very heavy, and never really came close to getting near that guard. So it worked out perfectly. It probably worked out as good or better than you could have made if you got through the hole. So BJ now looking at running the yellow on the green, on the high green. Be looking to make up a little for that first one. This one's on its way. Lots of weight on this. And it's got to curl a little bit more, and it will probably. It will, and wow. Tell you what, that's a lot of yellow rocks in the house now if you're Jonathan Beuk. I don't know if you're at a point where you're hitting anything helps or not. Looking at that, you could also play the outturn draw right around, right just about to where his broom was sitting there at the top of that kind of looks like a dog house, but just that little miniature house. That's where he's going. I think that's the best shot. I don't like the hit and roll at all, because if you don't make it perfect, then you open up your back one, and now you're not even going to be shot rock. This way, at least, if he makes a good shot here, he'll be sitting 2 when he's done. And not a real hard shot. It's basically just a draw to the tee line. Just got to manage it a little bit as around those guards is all. Couple ways to look at this. You could sort of set up it's very long for this, but you could sort of set up a little bit of a Christmas tree thing where you show a little bit of this rock and you show a little bit of the back green rock after this rock comes to a stop. And that would not be a bad result either. The other thing you can do is come right around, make sure you're shot rock or very close to shot rock. As I mentioned, in the top of that, right around the top of that peak in the 4-foot circle there. And be sitting really quite nice. I think I like that better. Starting to move now. I'm not going to say every time I say, well, it's really got to curl. curls plenty, so I'm not going to go there. And it looks like it's going to be very nice. Just maybe got to die a little bit. Want to get right over there. Nicely done. Probably possible for Reid to get it. Jonathan Beuk has come alive here. Last couple of rocks, couple of ends, I guess. Really, it was just a little unlucky in the second end. He had two shots that weren't that bad, and he ends up giving up 2. So Catlin going down to have some input. Be interesting. Lots of options on shots here. I think you can get Reid can certainly get to the back one. That's no problem if you want to try that. You could try that, hit and flop in and see what happens. So that's a possibility. He can probably get to the one that Beuk just threw because he can buy the guard by a mile, like by a foot or more. So Reid could throw a little more weight, enough weight to move it out and flop just in front of his own there. He could do that. Could go after this on the in-turn with he could run his yellow into it and maybe get them both, although I don't getting the second one is going to be really hard. Or he could freeze to the one that's right at the back of the house here, or back of the 4-foot, sorry. He's going to throw big weight, obviously. He's got no ice. So I assume he's going to basically just be, well, I'm not sure. He's either throwing big weight and blasting that one at the back out, just sitting right there, or he's throwing lighter weight and going after the top one. But just by the position of where BJ was going to hold the broom and everything else, I think he's going for, yeah, he's got to be playing the back one. It's not enough ice to play that top one for sure. So play the back, and if he can make this and get a little flop, he could be in pretty nice shape as well. Force Beuk to make a nice shot, at least to get out of trouble and only give up a single. Schneider, this one's got to curl a little bit. And he's pretty good. It's a nice shot, but he's going to might need a really good shot on his next one. Beuk makes this a little shot. So again, a couple of options. Hit it and flop in. Right there, right to the back of the button, basically. Really tough double for Reid to make anywhere. You could just hit it right on the nose, probably, and be fairly safe from the point of view, just thinking about giving up 2 here. I'm not thinking about scoring right now. If you want to score, then I think you definitely try to roll in a little bit. Right there. Yeah. Jonathan seems to, once Jonathan kind of makes up his mind, it seems like that's it. And he doesn't take a long time, but once he decides what he likes, everybody just has to kind of buy into that, which is, for the most part, for most teams, the better scenario, rather than having somebody that doesn't seem to be able to kind of make that final decision, or doesn't want to, or wants to take so much input. Input's great, communication's great, all of that stuff. And you can't just be like a little dictator out on the ice. You got to have, use the team that's brought you here and everything else. But at the same time, sometimes we found, particularly this year, sometimes those conversations have just dragged on and on and on and on. So nice to see somebody that really doesn't take very long to make a call. So a big shot here, another big shot for Jonathan Beuk. If he can make a little flop here, he could be in very nice shape. Signaling maybe up a little bit, so they're going to get on this. Got to go really quite hard. If you can get it over a little bit more. Now they're going to try to hold it straight right there, not get it over there. That's a good shot. Actually quite good. Never really thought about him going that way, to be honest. I thought he was going to go the other way. But very nice shot. I don't think Carruthers can do anything other than figure out which way is the easiest way for him to score. Scoring 1 here is not bad for him. He's up 5-2 after 4 ends. I think you're going to take that at the start of the game, no matter what. There is a possibility here, and he's going to play it maybe. Probably figuring he's going to be hard-pressed to outdraw any of those, and maybe hard for him to score. And I don't necessarily disagree, although I think the in-turn to the back one is fairly easy. Reid is going to play the slash double takeout here for probably what would be 2 points if he makes it. I don't know that the shooter will stay here, but And really, unless you got really unlucky, you will score here because, or you will do no worse, sorry, than give up one. It's a hard way to score, though. But Carruthers again, same, just like Jonathan, didn't take too long to call it. I think this is going to overcurl, and it will, and he will give up just one. Almost. Oh, no, maybe. What do we got? Yep, just one. Fortunate to only give up one there. So Jonathan Beuk with a nice steal of one here, and number 4 has found himself right back in this one, trailing 4-3 as we go to the break here at the Henderson Medal Fall Classic on Curling Stadium, Sault Ste. Marie.
For over 20 years, the Sandra Schmirler Foundation has granted more than $9 million to hospitals across Canada for life-saving equipment for premature and critically ill babies. In the past 4 years alone, $4 million has been granted thanks to the curling community's incredible generosity. The need continues year-round, and with your help, we can ensure every baby has the chance to grow up and become a champion, just like Sandra.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, bonspiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming solution featuring high-quality cameras, ease of use, great reliability, and minimal installation. Offering your sponsors customizable ad space on your streamed curling games and being able to sell video packages to your corporate events for increased revenue. With Curling Stadium, you can stream to any device, be it your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. Push the feed to your desired platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, or any other social media. Curling Stadium is simply the way forward. Where it's commonplace in other sports to televise every game, we want to do the same. Curling is a global sport, and it's time it gets the coverage it needs. Make your curling club the next Curling Stadium.
Welcome to the RockShop.net, the official store for the Grand Slam of curling. Whether you're looking for the best hats, stylish clothing, fun toys, or unique accessories, the Rock Shop has it all. Shop online anytime at therockshop.net for exclusive Grand Slam of curling gear, or come see us in person at your next event. Therockshop.net, where fans find their favorite curling gear.
So we are back for what has turned into a very tight match. Started out looking like it could be a game that would end pretty early as Carruthers scored 2 and then stole 2 in the first 2 ends. But Beuk fought back, made some nice shots in the third end to get 2, and then again in the fourth end made a very nice final shot to steal 1 and darn near stole 2. So 4-3 Carruthers with hammer going into the 5th end of play here at the Henderson Medals Fall Classic. Jim Nix with you on Curling Stadium. Kaylee working the production side for us.
you work the land, you just got to be a jack of all trades type. There's just too much to do. So if you got to be a welder or a farmer or a ditch digger, that's just who you are that day. Then tomorrow, you can be somebody else.
Hey Ben, what's the Aztec Safety online e-learning website again?
Yeah, that would be aztecsafety.com.
Fire extinguisher and firefighting, we'll send that one to Paul.
Now here's a course I should probably take. Conflict resolution.
Power line safety. Yeah, I thought it might help me with my line calls. Did you know this Aztec website has over 100 safety courses?
Jeez. Aztec Safety online course. Ground disturbance. Could have used that a few seconds ago.
Live curling rocks. And this November, the best in the world are coming to Tahoe. Get your seats now at gsoctickets.com. But hurry, early bird pricing ends soon.
So, Reid Carruthers stops the bleeding a little bit here after 5 ends of play. That wasn't really a long bleed, just had one end that got stolen on him and made a very nice shot here to score one in the end number 5 and has that 5-3 lead as we go to end number 6. And I can twist my neck back so that I can see much better now. Thanks, Kaylee, Jerry, and everybody, whoever had anything to do with fixing that. We like it. So we are now playing end number 6 with Jonathan Beuk from Kingston, Ontario, with a hammer in a 5-3 deficit for him, but a nice comeback. They did start down 4-0 if you weren't here at the start, and have fought their way back nicely and made good shots to do it too. It wasn't just a lot of good fortune, which sometimes can happen, not too often, but every now and then it does happen that way. Good fortune usually seems to go with the team that's ahead. I don't know what that is or why that is, but that's the way it goes. Sometimes I don't know if it goes that way or that's just what everybody on the ice thinks. So nothing happening right now. We are, there we go. Just fighting the technology just a little tiny bit this morning. Who knows why? I don't know why. It's our guys could tell me that, but they usually don't like to tell me anything because I don't know what they're talking about most of the time. But nice job getting it fixed, and nice that we can now see Interesting call. I don't know that the rock at the back of the house, I think, is on, so I don't know that. I don't know if I really get this one, to be honest, but whatever. I think I'd be coming around with something with a draw rather than playing a hit, taking a chance of rolling out or anything like that. But they've been pretty good for the last 3 ends, so we'll let them call it what they like. Sweeper going really hard. And he's going to be okay. He rolled too far. He probably rolled a little more than he wanted to for sure. It looks to me like it's going to be fairly open, judging by where the guard is, just barely on the other side of center. And this rock has got 6 inches or so, or 4 inches of clearance. It looks like a pretty simple double for Reid Carruthers. Just rolled just a rock too far, really. So Reid Carruthers with a chance to bring the blank end back into play here. Reid not having hammer, but if he makes this double, again, that rock at the back is a scary one. That one at the very back that might force Beuk to take a point that he doesn't want to take. And he'll make that. It's a simple shot for these guys. It doesn't even, they don't even think about it. That's the problem now. So now Beuk is forced with the same kind of decision. Now you're looking more seriously like you're going to get forced one if you don't get two. So I probably would not say I love the way they played the last 2 or 3 shots. I think they were in a better position. Could have been in a better position than they were, but like I say, I'm not throwing them. So looking for a hit here, and I don't know that it matters where he rolls to, in the sense that I think that Carruthers will be able to get to it. Unless he thinks he's rolling behind the corner, and that just looks like probably not possible. Jonathan Beuk out of Kingston, Ontario. I think one of the nicest cities in southern Ontario. Playing this fairly lightly. Might be actually trying to make that roll to the outside. He does that. Wow, so close. That was a great effort. Really nice effort by Jonathan Beuk. Just needed another probably, I don't know, maybe an inch, maybe less than an inch of curl, and he would have actually buried that behind the guard. As it was, he probably got a centimeter or less. So pretty much wide open for Carruthers, but yeah, just good try. Unfortunately, I think Beuk's probably going to be forced to make a hit and stay here for one, but we shall see. Carruthers just a soft weight hit here. Interesting slide. I thought he slid a little wide and steered it back, but probably not. They usually have to jump those when somebody does that. Nobody jumped on this one, so couldn't really do any more than that. Just couldn't take a chance on anything more than that. don't think there's a blank there, not a blank that you're going to take on right now. Perhaps if you were, in the seventh end or something, you might try to make the double and blank, hitting it on a little bit on the low side. You still might try that. It's just not easy. Not taking any ice, so you may be throwing some weight at this. Might be trying to hit, what would it be? Probably hit 2/3 of the stone, maybe 3/4 of the stone, make the double, and still manage to roll the shooter out. It's risky trying it, but he might also figure it's the sixth end. They've only got this and two more, and sixth end's never a bad end to score. Not as great when you're already down 2 and you might only score 1, but see what he does. Sweepers are David Staple and Scott Chadwick. Not touching this, though. That doesn't spell good. No, he's playing okay. He wasn't even trying to double. Made it, but wasn't trying. You can see how tough that would have been. He would have had to throw that like a rocket because he would have hit it the exact same spot. But good shot for Jonathan Beuk. He'll pick up 1. He'll trail going to end number 7, 5-4 here at the Henderson Metals Fall Classic on Curling Stadium.
Developed over a decade in collaboration with the finest ice makers this side of the Atlantic, the Pebblehead PB5 is nothing short of a triumph of sophistication and craftsmanship. Weighing less than half its lumbering copper predecessors, yet boasting tenfold their durability, the PB5 delivers perfect, consistent ice, time after time. The PB5 by Pebbleheads.com, the apex of ice-making ingenuity for the roaring game of curling.
The 2025-2026 Grand Slam of Curling schedule is out, with big events happening all over Canada, like the Masters heading to London in September, the Tour Challenge from YNCU this October, the Canadian Open from Saskatoon in December, and the Players' Championship from Steinbeck coming in January. Early bird weekend and full event passes on sale now at gsoctickets.com. Let's rock!
I've got this one. So, how was that? Wonderful. Now let's do it again.
BDO Assurance, a commitment to quality.
So 2 ends to go in regulation play, as they say here up in the Sioux. We're at the Henderson Metals Fall Classic. Jim Nix, you're watching on Curling Stadium at the Sault Ste.Marie, your neighborhood credit union curling center, Sault Ste.Marie, where we have a squeaker. We have a 5-4 game. Reid Carruthers leading. Jonathan Beuk out of Kingston, Ontario, trailing by 1 without the hammer. But a pretty nice setup. Got a couple of rocks on the center line. So again, not able to remove those for at least one more shot. It was probably a very necessary rule change, to be honest. I think we've had a lot of rule changes over the years and lots of reasons for rule changes, and not always my favorite rule changes happen, but I think this one was very necessary and a good idea. Trying to create some offense, create some excitement, make sure people still want to watch and everything that goes with that. So club curling, I don't think you even need that rule, but most clubs play it still. It's just kind of, to me, unnecessary, but So outturn draw. So 2 rocks by Carruthers' team. You can see there. I didn't mention those, but they're absolutely perfect. You know, you're basically half a 4 foot and full 8 foot and frozen. They're just really in great spot right now. So this Kingston squad has to move something here. So you want to look to move probably the top one a little bit. Needs to get there, first of all. Sweeper working hard, but that's not good. Well, you still got guards, but man, be interesting to see what Reid does, though. So you figure that he's probably going to rip some guards here, even though I'm sure if any of you are watching that are club curlers, you'd be doing the same thing my wife would be doing, saying, what's he doing? Why is he taking that out? He's got 2 rocks in the 4 foot. Why didn't you just guard? Well, at this level, you're really playing the way you need to play and way you got to play to procure a victory, not necessarily win by 5. So he'll get rid of these guards. At least get rid of one of them for sure, and probably 2. No, just got 1. That's interesting. Maybe that would have been a better strategy. This will be an interesting call. You kind of have to make a bit of a move, I think. You're only, what, three rocks into it so far on your 4th rock. It's going to guard again. Probably after seeing what Reid did on the last one, he's thinking, well, if you peel that, he'll probably peel this one. As long as we can get it high enough that it doesn't allow a double, we'll be in better shape. He's eventually going to have to make a play on this one, and maybe he's doing that now. I can't tell for sure. But certainly not the right ice for a guard. So I'd say he's playing the green back into the yellows. He'd like to nose hit it. Just dead on the nose and stay right there would be perfect. Don't know if it's going to over curl. Maybe. Will he hang on? I don't think so. No. So a bit of a rough end here for second stone David Staples. Carruthers now really could clean this all up. Have everything disappear here in a minute. We shall see. Looks like going to play just a second here until we figure it out. Looks like he's going to peel 1. Not going to play the second one. I thought he might take a chance to get rid of both of these. I think you could hit it on the high side on the outside and get rid of everything. Probably one of your own, but at least get rid of everything. But he's opting to play to remove probably just one of these green ones, probably the second one. But might not really matter. He just gets that one. So you're going to play a little defense and a little offense there. Basically playing a little get rid of a guard and give yourself a guard back. I don't know. May live to regret that, but so far it's not much of a problem. 4 rocks to come. There's not a lot out there now. So Beuk looking at, what can he do? Well, you might look and think, well, he could run the green in there, and he could. Probably make the double even and have shot rock, probably 2/3 buried, but a lot of things have to go right. If they go a little tiny bit wrong, he ends up with nothing and no guard. So he's going to come right around this guard, come right around to really the button or just behind the button. Force Reid to make a decision as well. Reid probably will go out and rip guards. But for now, we got to get this shot played. So Patrick Jansen now throwing an in-turn draw. As we said, the ice has been really nice. There's been lots of curl. They've had a few that didn't curl the way they thought they would, but I just have to believe that's something somebody's doing on release or whatever, because when they get it right, it seems like it definitely curls. And this is pretty nice. That stops. It won't stop, but man, what a try. I might be shot. Hard to tell there. Looks like about I'd say, yeah, here we go. Great. If I could just move that thing out of the way. Yeah, it's close. I think that green might have that. Either way, he's going to play the same shot. So just having a little chat about this. What do we do? One thing I don't think he's going to do is draw. That's my thought. So I'm pretty sure he won't draw. He could play this yellow one on the high side by BJ's foot, get rid of the yellow and the green, and just leave no guards there. And really, Jonathan doesn't have, he's putting a lot of faith in that rock at the back of the 4-foot, number 1 being shot rock, but at least being a solid number 2. That means he wouldn't give up more than 1. He'd be down 2 with coming home, which is, a little bit manageable. It might not get you the victory, but you probably could get yourself to an extra end at least, which isn't the preferred way, but it's hard to get 3, especially when the other team, all they want to do is make sure you don't get 3. Anything but that is satisfactory in their mind. But so he's going to run the yellow, and I don't know for sure if he's running the yellow into the green or if he's trying to run it straight back, but I can't believe he's going straight back with it. So I think it's looking at a double peel attempt here. So BJ Newfield with a solid weight shot, and he will get 1, 2, and move the yellows. Got shot rock definitely for now. Got rid of all the guards, so job done. I think it's tough situation now for Beuk. Going to be interesting to see what he plays. I think he's going to guard. Got 3 rocks to come. I think he's going to throw at least 1 more guard, and I think it'll be on the high yellow one. Yeah, I could do that, but looking at maybe playing a little hit and roll of the open and sit 2-3, and that's probably you might get out of the end without giving up 2 there, but pretty risky. You could also hit if you wanted to. I mean, if you want to do that, then you might as well just make the double on the yellows and hope that Reid doesn't make a double back. So once again, they don't take too long, which is great. This game has actually moved along very, very nicely. Certainly earlier in the season, we being us guys behind the mics and stuff and people trying to watch were a little bit, a little unhappy with pace of play. It was really, really slow. We had lots of 3-hour games and stuff like that. It was crazy, but this game has moved right along. So really pleased, and kudos to the boys for making that happen. And looks like a guard going up for Jonathan Beuk. And as I mentioned, they don't take very long to play, call. And neither team, really. Carruthers' team, every now and then, a little tiny bit longer, but nothing. You don't get the whole team down there for every shot, which we saw a few times earlier this year. So looking for a center guard here, looking to go right on the center line if that's where he wants it. Right, it's where his broom is. So nice guard. Well done. So a little bit surprised here. Carruthers not going to make a play on that guard. He's going to come right around. Freeze right to his own wouldn't be bad. Anywhere in front of it's probably not terribly bad. Just don't see that very often. They usually don't leave that rock out front. So, yeah. Pretty good, probably. I don't know. Going to be interesting to see where they go with this. Looks like kind of giving up a hope of getting shot rock. Almost trying to figure out where do we go to make sure we don't give up 2. Maybe set up something for his next shot, but I'm not really seeing that either. It's going to be very hard putting it somewhere where Carruthers can't outdraw it on one turn or the other. Now, it would take a heck of a draw. If you make this really good, it would take a really, really good draw by Team Carruthers to do better. And there's still 2 rocks to come each, so. So we settled on the in-turn draw, basically the same draw he had Jansen throw a couple of rocks ago, where went just to the back of the 4-foot there. He's basically playing the same shot with a hope of being a couple feet shorter. I don't think he can get shot. It maybe if it came in really hard at the end, you might be able to just sneak the yellow one and hang on to be shot. But man, that would be you wouldn't want to be trying to make that shot, that's for sure. Or having to make that shot, I guess would be a better way to put it. So here it goes, Jonathan Beuk. This one's curling early, I think. I think it's going to be light and tight and not going to do much. So not helpful at all. Doesn't hurt you, but it's not going to help you any. So it does leave the exact same shot, which Carruthers now will probably play. Leaving the out turn, which I think is also there. I mean, it's certainly, ice is curling enough that I think you can get to that edge of the button on either turn. There's just not a lot of wiggle room. Yeah, when these guys have missed a draw, they've missed a few of them by a lot, and that's kind of odd. So I don't know what's happening there. If they're just finding new paths, which is possible, or what. But they have had some draws. They've had some great shots, and then they've had about 3 or 4 draws that they missed by, I don't know, several feet, like not 3 or 4. So Carruthers now playing the shot that Jonathan Beuk was trying to play. You can see how good it comes in, and it might have been possible to actually get shot rock if everything had been absolutely perfect, but he's in a heap of trouble now. I think the last shot probably, the old hindsight 2020 thing, I think the last shot probably had to be a hit, which I wouldn't have loved playing either, but making the double on the top yellows, maybe, if it was possible. Anyway, here it comes. So gone to the outturn side, and he literally has to get closer than the yellow that's on the edge of the button, or he's going to drop at least 2, maybe 3, and either of those probably comes pretty close to ending the game. 2, you're probably still going to play, but not too often does anybody get 3, and 3, they're probably shaking hands. So we'll see what happens. He'd probably feel better about this if he'd been a little closer on his first one, but sweepers would have helped him out a little bit there and told him that, no, you're okay. You just need a couple more feet or whatever it is we need. Working hard on this. Line looks pretty good, I think. If he can sneak it by that top one. But problem with that, will he get number... Well, it's a great shot. you're just not going to get much out of it. So I think yellow now is sitting 2. Kaylee can give us a, yeah, here we go. So, oh, maybe not. It's really a lot closer than I thought. Well, I'll tell you what, if he got number 2 there, that was one heck of a shot. And even if he didn't, it was still one heck of a shot. Carruthers can probably move it. I don't know how aggressive he'd be at doing it. If he doesn't think he's number 2, he's not going to hurt himself because he's never going to throw enough weight that's going to disrupt that one that's on the button. He can play the same shot he just played, though, and just tick the yellow a little bit on the outside and scores 2 that way. I think he can also go out, turn and follow Jonathan Beuk down and just tap that green one a little bit, but you got to have a little more than just draw weight. So we'll see what he plays. If I was a betting man, I think he's playing I'd bet my nickel on the intern tap on the yellow. Partly because BJ seems to be only on that side of the sheet. That's a helpful hint. On its way. This is close as well. Really close. This could be a great shot. Wow, that was so nicely done. There was no room for error in that shot at all. I mean, it was the nice thing was you weren't going to worry about having them score. But anyways, Reid Carruthers makes a great shot for 2 here in end number 7. We'll take a 3-point lead to the 8th and probably final end here at the Henderson Metals Fall Classic in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. And we'll be back right after this break.
Developed over a decade in collaboration with the finest ice makers this side of the Atlantic, the Pebblehead PB5 is nothing short of a triumph of sophistication and craftsmanship. Weighing less than half its lumbering copper predecessors, yet boasting tenfold their durability, the PB5 delivers perfect, consistent ice, time after time. The PB5 by Pebbleheads.com, the apex of ice-making ingenuity for the roaring game of curling.
Live curling rocks. And this November, the best in the world are coming to Tahoe. Get your seats now at gsoctickets.com. But hurry, early bird pricing ends soon.
If you work the land, you just got to be a jack of all trades type. There's just too much to do. So if you got to be a welder or a farmer or a ditch digger, that's just who you are that day. Then tomorrow, you can be somebody else.
Ste.Marie Airport Development Corporation, owner and operator of the Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, Canada Airport, is proud to support the Sioux Curlers Fall Classic and welcome all to beautiful Sault Ste. Marie. The Sault Ste. Marie Airport. Go there to get anywhere.
We're back for end number 8. In this game between Jonathan Beuk from Kingston, Ontario, and Reid Carruthers out of Winnipeg, Manitoba. Jim Nix bringing you this one on the mic, and Kaylee doing our production for us, and we're pleased to have you along for what will most likely be the final end here in this one. Certainly not impossible to score 3, but a lot of things have to go your way, so Jonathan Beuk will try to make that happen by starting with a couple of guards. Looks a little different. If you're wondering what's going on, he doesn't have He does have hammer, but yet he's going center here, and that's just a factor of being down so many and trying to figure out a way to make it work. So Reid's unable to remove those yet or move those at all, really. I guess, sorry, you could move them a little bit, but that wouldn't really benefit him. You'd just be putting them on the corners, which is probably where Jonathan Beuk would be quite happy to have them if they had to move. So coming around, and we'd be one shot away from starting to get rid of those guards anyway. So it's working hard. You don't want this to be short or not too short. It's interesting. A lot to work with here. I will say, I mean, they're the opposition stones, but those yellow rocks in the 12-foot can certainly be used by the team that's trailing. So, and you don't need, just need a couple of peel attempts that or run backs that don't go perfect, and all of a sudden you have a shot. So we'll see. Here's the out turn come around for starters. Let's get one in there for starts. A little tight. This looks very good. Doesn't really matter too much at this point. You can take it back, make sure it gets buried no matter where it is. You know the other team is not going to be trying. Yeah, good peel. Caitlin. Both teams have played pretty well. It's just been a few misses early, obviously, by Team Beuk that ended up being a 4-0 deficit. But since then, both teams played pretty well. Just, as I mentioned last stand, a couple of the misses that Team Beuk has had that were big misses. Like they missed by a lot on some of those draws. But for the most part, it's not been a bad game. Reid himself has certainly played very well. Game beside us, I see, is tied up at 6 playing the 8th end. I'm not sure who's playing in that, but so a nice shot. Don't think he can go after that yet. I think he's probably going to have to peel. Doesn't look to me like he'd go after the back one, but so going out, BJ Neufeld now will rip that off. So Beuk now has 2. Just needs to find a way to get one more in, and all the while protecting that. But you know what? You might only be 3 shots away from having a chance at scoring 3 here. So see, well, maybe not now. Nope. Going to be a lot tougher now. Just an amazing shot by BJ Neufeld. I hesitate to believe that they were actually playing that shot, but it looked like it was too good not to be playing it. Makes what would that be? A 12 to 14 foot run back double. All 3 rocks being the opposition stone. So even if the one he raised back had stayed, they would have at least had 1 in. Now, all of a sudden, you've got 4 rocks to come and you got to score 3 of them. So definitely the turning point in this end. No matter what they do now, it's going to be very difficult. Carruthers going to go out and jump on that. And he might get it out. He's in the way. Get out of the way, Reid. Nope, half a rock. Well, you know what? It's not great, but it's at least there. And could count. You never know. Yeah, peeling the guard off now. Which makes you believe even more so that they probably weren't playing that run back last time. A lot of risk in that shot. But regardless, BJ now will just rip this one off. Tucker's dream, these kinds of shots. Well, that might probably help Beuk more than helps anybody. At least brings the possibility of coming around the guard here. Get one miss from Reid. Maybe make a double. Maybe sit 3. We'll see. Lots of maybes. You need a lot of help at these points. They're hard not to not feel like you're kind of wasting your time a little bit. But the good teams don't feel that way. They just figure like we just got to make everything as good as we can make it and go from there. Kind of be like the Blue Jays these days. Keep going. Got to get it back. Got to get it buried mostly. And he will. So, interesting call coming up for Carruthers here. Do you draw or do you run that front one back? He's going to draw. So, like I said, you ever get one miss, one rock that comes up a foot short or goes a couple feet long and slides on by, one double and you're sitting 3. It doesn't take much. Now, mind you, he's still got some stuff that has to go right here. Carruthers still has 2 rocks. He has 2 rocks, so Reid would be able to make a double as well somewhere and end this thing probably. And all of that's predicated on him not even making this shot, which so far, last end he put 2 rocks right on the button basically. So chances are he's going to be pretty close on this. Well, he took that one out of play, but I don't know that he was trying to be that heavy. Make this one around the guard, and all of a sudden he's got to play a run back. So you'd see Jonathan talking about drawing right down to his, and I think the only reason for that really is to try to make sure, well, A, you might get a jam possibly if you ever over curl just a tiny little bit. But secondly, just make that short run back as long as you can. Maybe temporary to draw again, which would probably be, there's always a better chance, I think, if he's drawing that he leaves you something. But anyway, we'll see here in a minute. First of all, you got to make this one. Can't get ahead of yourself here at all. And this is going to be okay. Needs to curl a little more, though, I think. Just a little bit heavy. But basically accomplish what you're trying to accomplish, I think. I don't think Reid will be able to play anything here that with weight. I think it's going to be throw the same shot he just threw. Slightly less ice, he'd be fine. What I do know is when you're after 3 coming home, even without the hammer, you're not really expecting to have to play a draw or not hoping to play a draw around a guard with the other team sitting 2 in pretty nice shape at this point. Usually hoping you're just going to have to whack something. Here we go. Reid Carruthers, chance to put an end to this one, basically. Puts it in there in the right spot. There's really no way for Jonathan Beuk to score 3. But you ever throw this, you throw the same weight you just threw and bounce off by a little tiny bit. It's not going to be good. Looking at another option now. Carruthers got down there. I think he thought he had saw more of that rock in the house maybe than what he initially thought. So he's coming back to talk about it. We'll see what he ends up with here. Just a reminder while they are chatting about it that we are back with you again at 2 p.m. Eastern and 7:30 p.m. Eastern with Dunstone and Epping this afternoon, not playing each other, but both of them are in the draw this afternoon, and we will be covering both of their games. Who's on with you at that game? We've got the Harndens, Eric and Al, bringing you one of those games, and Dave Schmell and Rory McCusker will bring you the second game. And then we're back again this evening at 7:30 p.m., as I mentioned, with two or more games. I don't know who's playing, but we will be back with commentary on all of those games. So it should be a great day of curling as we move through the day. Carruthers is playing interesting here. He's playing just I think probably like maybe a hack weight shot at this. Looked a little in out. That might not be a great thing. Try to make it move a little bit here now. Caitlin Schneider is, he's going to be okay, I think. He gets to the nose, it's all over. And he doesn't, but he's all over anyway because he had enough weight to move it out. So that's going to bring us to a close in this one. A good shot by Reid Carruthers to end it. Certainly the team that was a little tiny bit better today won. And Carruthers will go to 1-0. Beuk dropped to 0-1. And they will be back on the ice again probably this evening at 7:30 maybe. For Jim Nix, for Kaylee, and for everyone involved with Curling Stadium. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again as the day moves on. Bye for now.
Live curling rocks. And this November, the best in the world are coming to Tahoe. Get your seats now at gsoctickets.com. But hurry, early bird pricing ends soon.
If you work the land, you just got to be a jack of all trades type. There's just too much to do. So if you got to be a welder or a farmer or a ditch digger, that's just who you are that day. Then tomorrow, you can be somebody else.